This is just to introduce you to the educational computer, the 48-in-1 cart. 1 to 16 has some interesting utilities, and up to 32 has some educational stuff, and up to 48 has lots of sports style games. Okay, these are actually track and field games. Going back to the start here, you can see there are some actual games here. But anyway, starting with calculator, exactly what you'd expect. Useful for a 5-year-old, possibly. It basically just teaches you how to use the calculator. If you're in a third world country, then you don't often get access to technology, and this $10 computer, at least it teaches you how to use a calculator, and in many third world countries that's all they have in their shops. So anyway, there you go, it's a calculator. Useful thing to have, graphical interface, and you can also use the keys as well. Okay, this next one here is a game called Go, or Vado. It's an interesting game. The game helps develop your mental agility in the same way that Tetris might, or something like that, or chess even. How educational is it? I think this game is a little bit too complex for young minds. But if you're over the age of 10, then you might actually find it quite intriguing. It's a bit like the old arcade game Attacks. It's basically Korean-style chess, their equivalent of chess. Okay, this one is a face recognition thing. It's just, that's all it does. You just change the different faces. Not really educational, unless you had a program whereby you'd have to match one face to the other face on the left. So you get given a face, and then you have a certain amount of time to rearrange the different parts of your face to match the one on the left. Then it could be quite educational, but in its current state, not really. Or match it according to a time limit, and then it could record your scores, and then it could become more engaging and more educational. But really, beyond the age of 5 or 6, it's not really that educational. Here's something that would be useful for some kid who was probably about 3 or 4, or didn't know the Western style numbers. Remember, in Arabic and Thai, the numbers are different, so I can see why this might be quite useful. But if they already have the same number system, then with regards to being educational, probably for a 3-year-old maybe, but a 3-year-old is probably going to be a little bit too young to be able to operate this, so it's kind of redundant. But anyway, it's a nice thing to have, and it shows you how to write the numbers on the screen there. Not very engaging, but there you go. You click X to exit it. Quick Count, this is a card game. It's a maths card game where you add up the scores and you get totaled with the answer. So you want to max out your amount that you score based on matching cards, and there we go, 12 minus 10 is 2, so you get 2 points, etc. It can be educational, and the good old Minesweeper. Okay, the ultimate time waster in the original Windows. I'm not sure that a 5 to maybe a 10-year-old's, or 8 to 9 to 10-year-old is going to get it, but in terms of educational purposes, might be a little bit difficult for them. Even I find it difficult, but and it's not very engaging. But there you go. It's okay to have. If there's space on the cart, why not? Here's something that's kind of useful for getting young kids to familiarize themselves with Word, basically. So this can be quite useful. This is actually an 8-bit version of Word, and it does actually work. You can actually print from this, and you can save it, you can tabulate it, etc., edit it. So this actually does actually work. And of course you can save it if your computer has a battery in it, like this one does, or it has a battery in the cartridge. Sorry, it actually has it in the cartridge, this one. So I can save it as my doc and then click save, and then I can open it up again. I'll click on open. I have to type it in my doc. It takes up 28 bytes only. Okay, just to prove it's working, if I go new file, open, and type in my doc. Okay. Okay, there's also another one which helps with spreadsheets. This helps. This is useful for helping young kids familiarize themselves with computers who might not have access to a full desktop PC. So in that way, it's useful. It's also useful if you're a young kid, you don't want them messing about on the computer, but they still want to learn how. You still want them to learn how to operate a computer. It's actually very functional. See, ruler on, so on. So it's useful from that point of view. Okay, this one is actually quite good. It's just a basic maths game. It's like taking a maths test. It's not that engaging, but it enables the kids to test themselves. You just put in the missing number, etc., and you just keep on going up level by level until you get to level 9. Educational, yes. Engaging and entertaining. Edutainment, not really. It's like taking a math test, but at least they can test themselves. I would have liked to have seen time limits, etc. on this one, and stuff like that, where you can actually test yourself to get faster and faster, or have something like maths invaders, like you will see with the typing tutor, type invaders later. Oh, I get a dancing man. That's my reward. Okay. This one you just point and click, it tells you what it is. Scanner's spelled wrong. Oh, that is not a mainframe. So you can see there are faults in the software. But if you've never been modem exposed to computers before, or you're just a kid, 5 years old, might be worth it. This one's actually quite good. It's you press the function keys, you get different tunes. You press the keyboard keys, and it plays tunes. I'm terrible at music, so this one again is useful for a 3-year-old. But would a 3-year-old actually be able to operate it effectively with the joystick or mouse? Clicks just tells you what it is. Probably wouldn't learn anything from it above the age of 3, apart from parallelogram or trapezium maybe. The good old solitaire. Educational at a push. Card games. Some of them can be educational, but it's really at a push. This one is really good because it helps develop mental agility. It's basically a Simon Says game, so you've got to follow it, and now click 3 of the wrong ghosts. But you can see now that it's game over. So you see now if I click the right ones, done, done, and then I can continue with the game. If I click the wrong ones, let's do that. Okay, then I lose a life, see? And do it again, and it's game over. Very useful for developing a child's mental agility. Not really useful for much else, but again, nice to have. Here's a very graphically pleasing typing tutor, and it shows you which keys to use with which fingers. It's really just a tutor. It's not really an engaging game at all. It's very nice, very well laid out, well programmed, but it's not really that engaging. I would have liked to have seen maybe a running man at the top with a monster chasing them for a time limit score or something. But for what it is, it's useful, and it teaches you which fingers to use, but I doubt many people are going to use this compute program unless they really want to type. And a 5-year-old's not going to find it fun at all. So there you have that one. What they will find fun probably is this one. This is called Letters Invade, and it's like the old maths invaders I had at school, where you type a letter, bang, bang, and eventually it's if they hit the bottom, then they destroy part of the wall. Once the wall's gone and the letter hits the bottom, it's game over, etc., etc. Fun game, and kind of enjoyable to play for a 5 to 10-year-old. Okay, this one is kind of interesting. This is G Basic. It's a version of Basic that is very similar to the ones found on 8-bit computers 20, maybe 30 odd years ago now. Although programming is different nowadays, it does give you an idea about programming, and it's therefore quite useful because you can teach them the whole idea of concepts. Who uses GoTo anymore, and it's got lots of keyboard shortcuts as well. So like F2 I think is print, and F3 is GoTo, or F1 is GoTo I think. So you don't have to sort of type it all out, but it does teach the basic concepts of programming, and you can get some quite nice effects if you know Basic fairly well, and show them, and it always impresses little kids to see that. If you are going to program on it, make sure you do something that's quite visual for young kids, and it gets them interested in actually programming. You do really need to be about the students need to be about 8 years old to really appreciate it. Any younger than that, they're really not going to get it at all. So to do let's do something really visual here. Okay, I'm just changing the program around, and I can see I've made a mistake there. Go to 10, 10 doesn't exist. Actually, we don't need 20. If we locate, this is just an example of some fun things that you can do. Random number for the exposition, character exposition from 0 to 20, and a random number from 0 to 20 for the Y position of the character. Okay, so that's going to print at the Y and X position. Okay, so I only did it once, so now we need to loop it around, so change that to 20, print asterisk, and then we go to 10, so it's going to keep on looping. So when we run that, we get snow. Okay, so you can do things like this with the kids, and it gets them interested in programming. There is a slight problem with this though, and I will come on to that in part 2 later, but all in all it's very educational, and I will see you in